stand to my feet now because Queen, do I need to stand up now? And there you go.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Chatting with the Clays. Chatting with the Clays. You're not seeing quadruplets. You're actually seeing two of my sisters and our precious mother today. And so we are so glad to have you tune in with us. And we just hope this is going to be a fun chatting with the Clays today. We're just going to have fun. How about that? How about that? We're going to have fun?
That'll work.
All right. Good. So I'm not going to do chatter in the news because I'm just excited, and we've been messing with the mics and stuff. So I'm excited just to have us together today. We have a brother and our baby sister. They're the only two that aren't with us. They're yet alive, but they're not here today. We tried to get the baby and couldn't harness her down to bring her up, and big brother is big brother, but he's not here today, and we're just glad to be together. And we're gonna travel down memory lane and just have some fun and do some laughing. How you doing, Mom?
I'm doing fine.
You doing fine? Huh?
Got my three beautiful daughters.
You got your three beautiful daughters?
Yeah.
Okay.
Got the oldest, second oldest, third oldest.
Okay.
Babies somewhere.
The baby somewhere. Well, this is the oldest sister, and this is Roberta Chaplain Perry, and she's the oldest sister. Brother is the biggest. He's the oldest. He's the oldest.
Yes.
And then Roberta's next in line, and then I'm next. I'm the middle child. There's two over me and two under me. I love saying that. Anyway, and then there's Roxanne. She's 3 years younger than me, and then the baby, Stephanie, she's the baby. She's everybody's baby because there's 10 years between the two of them. And we all raised her, poor baby. We had her doing everything.
Spoiled.
Just rotten.
Yes.
We taught her to talk, walk, dance, curse, and all kind of stuff. So we're missing the two of them with us today, but that's the order that you see today. And we're just going to get started. Mom, would you like to say anything other than you're glad to be here?
I'm really glad to be here.
You're really glad to be here?
Yes.
Do we get to tell your age?
You can if you want to. I'm glad to be in the land of the living.
You're
Hello.
glad to be in the land of living. You want to tell your age? You want me to tell it?
I'm going to be 87 this year.
All right, 87 today. Oh, sorry about that. She's going to be 87 this year. So we truly thank God for 87 years of
Yes.
having our mother
Yes.
in her right mind. She's still running us like she did when we were little. But anyway, let's start with one of Mom's sayings that haunt you. It comes back to you at a time.
Mark my words.
Yes. And she'd say, mark your words, because her words.
Her words, because she would tell you something that was going to happen if you did fill in the blank. But there's so many marks on the wall, it was wallpaper.
Mark my words.
Mark my words.
Yes. Roxie, what about you? One of those that haunt you.
Mark my words.
Another mark my words.
Man. Woo!
And that comes when what? When something.
When I did something I wasn't supposed to be doing, and she was telling me about it, and she see my expression as far as she's hard-headed, she don't believe me, but she never cussed, she never yelled her voice, she just said, mark my word, just see. And I would get so nervous, like, oh, no, oh, the sky's gonna crack. And she would say, mark my word.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, not another mark.
We say the wall was marked up.
Wallpaper.
The wall was marked. But you guys will forget one thing that went with it.
Serious.
Mark
Yeah,
my words.
yes, yeah.
If the finger comes out, you know she meant it.
She meant it.
Mark my words.
And she never raised her voice. She never cussed. she didn't argue, and she spoke just how I sound, probably a little softer. But boy, that was the worst. That was worse than a whooping. It whooped me. Hit me in the head with a pan. Anything. No.
You were gonna say something else?
Oh, the other one was use your head for more than a hat rack.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Stupidity was not praised. She was like,
No,
don't do it.
don't do it. And she would say, another one she would say, now just think about that. Did that make sense? Think about it. So why did you do it?
Oh, don't forget this one. Are you stupid? Well, I guess I should think about it. Don't be stupid. Are you? Well,
No.
no. Well, don't act like that then. You just like, and that's how she would say it. Are you stupid? Well,
Look at the little innocent face. Oh, she's looking real innocent. She's looking really innocent right now. Yeah.
she would say things, and things like that was so powerful.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
left you thinking.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. She made us think all the time.
Am I stupid? No. But it made you really think about what you said, how
Yeah.
you act,
Yeah.
just everything.
Yeah. And we understood that not being demeaning as think about it, you know. And I think every home has their own language, you know, where they grow up around and the kids understand. And in our home, we, like Roberta said, we understood that stupidity was just not tolerated. You know, you just
Period.
don't do things just to be doing it.
Yes.
Think about it, you
Think
know.
about it,
And she
yes.
would tell us, you know, you're women. You know, you're gonna be women. You have to be strong,
Independent.
independent. The one,
Not stupid.
not stupid.
Use your head.
Use your head for more than a hat rack.
Yes.
And I think now the one for me that haunts me, especially if I'm sick or I'm just having a bad time and don't feel like doing anything. I can't be sick until I clean my house. Then when I clean my house, I can go back to bed and be sick because I hear those words all the time. Clean your house, you know. I'm not gonna come eat.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah. What about you, Mom? What did you say all the time that you can remember?
I used to say all the time, you can do it if you want to do it, you know you're going to get in trouble, so think about it. And I try to not stay from the spanking stage because we got spanked so much, not really spanked, but whipped so much for everything you did. Because our parents didn't have the knowledge that that I even had at that time to raise kids, and I was determined. Somewhere along the line, they're going to have to make these decisions for themselves and earn money for themselves and be a woman about it. You make a mistake, you say, I make a mistake, and try to do something different.
Do something different.
Yeah.
Well, this question is to you, Mom. Raising 4 girls and a son, what was your biggest challenge, do you think? This is off the cuff, but, you know, what do you think was your biggest challenge?
Well, my biggest challenge was after I had the kids all to myself, I had to be mother and father. And I didn't want them to feel the blunt of like, oh, we're in a broken home. No, things happen. And if they happen, you look over that and see what you can do that's different. And don't throw that kind of decision off on the kids. That was your mistake. And let them know that everybody makes mistakes. But you got to be a grown up to work it out. And you can start that at any age. But it's the main thing is teaching the kids as you go along, not just for a time, but step by step.
That's good.
Yeah, and I often taught, you know, when we are doing chatting with the Clays, I know a lot of you've always hear me making reference back to both our parents being teachers. Dad taught, he was a math teacher in the service, and Mom was like just a couple hours away from her educational degree, and she had the first Montessori daycare in Des Moines. I don't know if it was Iowa, but I know she had the first Montessori daycare, and she had to go to school and learn that. And she's turned out quite the kids out of that daycare. I think most of every child, you had 3 and 4 year olds, by the time they were ready to go to kindergarten, most of them skipped kindergarten and went on to first grade. So that's a huge feat. But in our house, everything, there was a lesson. Everything was a lesson. You know, it wasn't, you know, we say these little things, you know, that she said, but it wasn't said without a teaching to go with it.
Yes.
And
Everything.
I think
yes.
to have 4 girls, I don't know how you did it, first of all.
You're right.
And then the one on the end has 4 girls.
And
I don't know.
did the same
And did the same thing.
Because that's all I knew.
That's all you knew. You're
And it
right.
worked.
And it worked, you
It
know.
worked, yeah.
But that's a lot of estrogen in the house. Oh my goodness. And you know, it was fun. We had our times growing up, and I think with that, let me think. I'm just going to say this, and you tell me what comes to you first. Which one? I'll just go down the line again. I'll start with Mom. 17th Street or Clark Street?
Well,
What?
they both were
Yeah,
learning
just how?
institutions. Clark Street, 17th Street was a little more in-depth because of the neighborhood and the people we had living on that street with us, and some of their characteristics weren't that good. Clark Street was a real good learning experience for the kids because it was calm. We lived across from a nursing home, so they got to see how they treated the elderly people.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of good training on that street where they learned things, and the parents on that street, it seemed like we were in the same ballpark. We all made our kids mind.
And you were all
Wasn't any
working.
fighting or whatnot.
Yeah. A lot of working
A
parents.
lot of working parents.
Yeah, yeah. Roxanne, Clark Street or 17th Street?
I'd say both, half and half.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I say that, because, you know, I was the youngest, so I always kind of followed my older siblings with trust.
I knew that was coming.
Yeah, with trust. So, and I was the quiet one as well. And
Baby.
17th Street helped me develop social skills in a sense to where don't do this way, but do this that way.
Mm-hmm.
Don't make this choice, but make that choice. And I didn't realize it until we moved to Clark Street. Because it was more developed, more, I mean, it's like, I thought we was rich. We had a big home, and, you know, the air was just like, oh, you know.
Yeah.
So, and I think coming from 17th Street, being raised there and moving to Clark Street, that it set the tone for us to become successful adults from the things that we seen, experienced, and the decisions that we made. As far as neighbors, the kids we went to school with, walking, challenges, how we handled it. I mean, it was just a lot of things. And I don't think we feared much. We feared God, of course, that's how we was raised. But I don't think there's too many things we feared. So I think that's where our strength came from.
Can I say one more thing?
Sure.
About Clark
Well,
Street?
you're
I'm
mom.
sorry.
You can
No,
say what you want.
No,
On
Don't
Clark
look it.
Street, it was a new learning experience. Our house was a house for kids that were in trouble, not to live, but to run there. Somebody was bothering them on the street, and it was a program that the city had set across for her to do, help kids keep out of trouble or be molested. And then I started a little bluebird group, and we had kids there that were studying, learning how to do for not themselves but each other too. And we really watched out for each other. And there was a couple of gangs, and they were bad. I kind of talked to them, and they got to the place where they were watching the street that nobody else would bother. Nobody else bothered the kids. I could leave my door open, no lock, and they would take care of us. And if they were out of hand, they trusted me. I could go out and say, "What are you kids doing? You need to go home. You know it's dark. Now if you don't go home, you're gonna get in trouble." And that's all I need to say. Yes, Miss Dawson, we're going. We're sorry, but it was a whole different learning experience. I think because of the group of neighbors we had. So that's a big thing too.
It was, because our house, you were everybody's mom. You know, everybody's mother.
Still am today.
And then,
Still-
you know,
yeah.
it seemed like that as we got older, you know, entering high school and graduating and stuff, it just seems like the people had so much respect for us.
Yeah.
But we didn't realize that because we didn't, you know, we didn't take it on, you know why? We didn't take it a certain type of way. But they knew who we were and this and that. And, you know, I guess we made a big impact on them, but they don't realize they made a big impact on us.
Well, we had that
You
big
know,
brother
too.
that felt like there
Yes.
was 1,000 of him.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, I'm gonna talk about him in a minute, but
Yeah.
that could be a whole show.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but let you take your
Oh, no,
turn.
Yeah,
that
I
was
was
good.
Clark
That was good.
Street or 17th Street.
Maybe 17th, because it was we knew everyone on the block. There was one family that almost took up the other side of the street, but it was
Yeah.
more carefree. I think about our grandparents coming down and staying with us. We could walk not too far around the corner to different grocery stores in the community. But it was more foundational. And we were a Blue Star home there before it was even considered a Blue Star.
Yeah, that's
So,
right. I
a
forgot
lot
about
of
the
the
star. Yeah,
neighbors
Yeah.
would come
Yeah.
to the house.
yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think for me, probably 17th Street, and when we moved from 17th Street was, I was 10. I guess, and that was most impactful, the year we moved, because that year seemed like a lot happened.
Yeah.
And I know Grandpa, your father, passed that year. And we had a fire just before, not in our house, but at the end of the block, and I'll never forget that. There was, like you said, there was childhood friends that we grew up with that I think I carried from 17th Street to Clark Street too. So I think, yeah, that was the foundational place for me. We didn't move around a lot. We lived on 17th Street in west side of Des Moines, and then we sold that house and moved on Clark Street.
Yeah.
And we lived there until we were all grown.
Yes.
13 years between Stephanie and I, the baby and I. She was born on Clark Street.
Yes.
And that was a whole new venture because I think pretty much we were teenagers except Roxie. Roxie was 10. And I was excited. I'll never forget, I was excited. And I said, "Oh, we get to have another brother finally."
I wasn't excited.
I know you weren't. And we just thought, "Oh, I just thought Mom's gonna have finally another boy."
And I thought they're
Because I
taking
was the
my
other
spot.
brother. You're taking your spot.
Taking my spot, whatever it's going to be. That's not fair.
So I thought we were, and I'll never forget when Mom had Steph. She called home and said, "I had a girl," and I hung up the phone. I just knew it was a boy. But we took her, and I think we fought over her. We passed her around. Everybody wanted to take her in the stroller up to the park. We were all trying to say she was our baby. Even our brother. Oh my goodness.
He was the main one.
He was
Yes.
the main one. He was telling people that was
That
his
was
baby.
his baby. And remember, he used to say, "Mom was his sister."
Yeah, mom was his sister, and Stephanie was his baby, and she brought a lot of joy into that house because she was the baby, and like I said, we fought over her, and we would take turns picking her up when we got out of school, because Mom was she had her daycare, so we'd go pick her up. We took turns picking Stephanie up from Mama Alice.
Yeah, Big Mama.
Big
Yeah.
Mama Alice. Or Mama Alice? Yes, it was Mama Alice.
And then before that was Tara's mother.
Yes,
Her name?
what
Miss
was-
Cooley?
Yeah,
Miss
that wasn't
Cooley.
Mama Alice. It was
The
Miss Cooley. Miss
yes.
Cooley kept Stephanie.
Uh-huh.
And we took turns picking her up from school. Whoever got home first would walk up the street and pick
Yeah.
her up. And then after we started working our jobs at 14, 15,
Yeah.
16, we would pick her up and take her up to the daycare with Mom. And we just had fun. You know, it was a fun life. I have nothing that I could say really that there was regrets. It was, you know, in retrospect, when you look back, we had a really good life. As you're going through life
Yeah.
and learning and everything, you think it's the worst. You know, our brother was like I said, it was
Sarge.
like,
Sarge.
yeah, he was Sarge. He was the vigilante and everything else, and he wouldn't let us breathe.
Oh,
you
my
know,
God.
and he was
He wouldn't.
everywhere.
Oh, boy.
He
Yes.
protected. He was our protector. I
Yes.
mean, no one. We couldn't get a boyfriend.
Uh-uh.
You know, until he left and went to the military.
And then you was too scared.
And then you were too scared. Then
Plus he left his part.
he left. Yeah,
He left
and
his gang to
He
live.
left his
yeah,
print.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then we all looked like him. Ooh, that's Dawson's little sister. Don't mess with
Yeah,
her.
don't mess with her. Don't mess
That
with
ain't
her.
even right.
Yeah. And even when he went away, you know, they looked after Mom.
They
you know, they
did.
would come over
Still.
and checking on you still,
They
you
still
know.
came over.
And so it was good. We had fun. What's let me see, sibling moment.
Good or bad? Or
It got to be the good stuff.
Look at you, sister.
No. Sibling moment. Favorite sibling moment.
Favorite sibling moment? With one sibling or just
One, all
I have
12 of us,
I have a lot.
20 of us.
I really
No.
have a lot.
You have a lot.
You have one
I
that you
have a
remember,
lot.
Mom?
Well, the one that I remember is Robert went to the Marines.
Uh-huh.
And he left his gangs to look after the house. I didn't have to lock the door or nothing.
It's gay.
And I remember one day that when I got off from work, it was kind of late, and it was summer, and the boys were like a half a block away, and they had their car parked, and I was all in the car, and I thought, what are they doing there? And so I went on and got my tea. I was a tea drinker. I heard this noise, and I come out the door. I said, "What are you guys doing?" And the neighbor behind me said, "Oh, don't bother, that's the gang." I said, "I don't care who it is, you go home." And they got out off their truck or car or whatever they had, and they went home. But it's just that the trust, when they got in trouble, they would come and knock on the door. And I'd call their mother. I says, "I have Billy over here. Do you want me to keep him?" Or said he won't. And the floor was always in the wintertime with blankets in there rolled up on
Yeah.
going to sleep. And they didn't bother me, and they didn't bother the girls.
Yeah,
They were good
that's
kids,
right.
and they looked after us, and that just made me feel good.
Yeah.
Because I am a kid's parent from the very beginning. I love children, and I've had jobs for children, and I think that the kids saw it in me. I didn't fuss. They do something. I says, "Okay, you know what's going on." They knew, and I didn't do a whole bunch of slapping and beating and screaming and hollering. You know, that doesn't do anything for the kids.
Puts fear in them.
And right today, as old as I am, I'm driving down the street and somebody's saying, and I'm saying, "Now what is this? My tire's flat." I pulled over. "Miss Dawson, I wish you see my baby." This is like 30 some years
So
ago.
it's not longer.
But it makes
Yeah.
me feel good. I was that type of person.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I was a workaholic, but I had time for my kids.
Yeah.
And they knew, I taught them how to take care of business at home, how to wash clothes, how to cook, how to do the money and what we were paying out, and it paid off because I got sick. I mean, deadly sick. And I was in the hospital about what, month? And they run that house like it was me. So you gotta teach your kids and be honest with them. Just because you had a bad life, don't throw it on your kids.
Yeah.
True.
You know, that was then, this is
Words
now.
of wisdom.
So I just feel good, and then even when the daughter got married, and I was friends with her husband. So if that's not my choice, it's your choice. And if you like him, I'm gonna like him too. So we have to take ourselves out of the picture, you know. Yeah. You gotta take yourself out of the picture and let the kids grow.
True.
That's true. Yeah, that's the truth. See, I told you she's always teaching a lesson.
Yeah, she's just teaching something.
She's just teaching a lesson, but you know, your caring, compassion, you know, and that's what we're missing today.
Sure.
We had a neighborhood now. In our neighborhood, different people do different things, but in our neighborhood, we had people that saw after each other's
Yes.
children. We didn't call them aunts and uncles, you know, it was
Yeah.
Miss so-and-so, Miss so-and-so, but I've heard people grow up in the neighborhood, everybody was their aunt, everybody
Yeah.
was their uncle,
We
cousin,
didn't
or
do
whatever.
that.
We didn't do that. It was Mr. or Miss,
Sloan.
so, yeah,
Mr.
you
Sloan,
know.
he was so nice.
But they saw about us, you know,
Yes.
we took care of, you know, that raising a village was there, you know. We knew if we were up the street, I remember the corner store that was across the street.
From the
Actually,
cleaners on the
was
corner.
that the cleaners, or wasn't that an
It was a
ice
little
cream
store
store
on the corner.
first?
Yes, it
And
was.
then it was a store, the drug store.
Well, they serve ice cream
Oh,
at that
of course.
drugstore.
Yes,
Sworn
it's these, yeah, we
Yeah.
were talking
Yeah.
about the soda fountain one
Yes,
day.
yes.
On chatting with the Clays,
Yeah.
but even if we were, you know, up around the corner, if we were doing something, you know, somebody's mom would say,
Yeah.
what are you doing? You know, and we didn't go home and say, Miss Roxie got after me, Mom. Because if we told Mom somebody had to get after us, what was Mom's first thing?
What did you do?
She never went to the other side first. She always made us accountable. But what were you doing? What did you do?
Why were you over there? Why were you over there?
Why were you over there? Didn't I tell you just to go to the drugstore? Go. You know, so she always kept us, you know,
Grounded.
to where we grounded and
In
we
everything
were
we
held
did.
accountable for our actions.
Yeah.
And we never got to, even from school, we never got to come home and say, the teacher did this. If the teacher did it,
But most of the teachers knew her too.
oh, yes.
Man, yeah.
Oh, yes.
And
The
she
other
was- and
students
she
would
was
tell.
always popping
I
up that
walked
she was
the
on the
halls.
school board.
She was on the
So
school
she
board,
was,
PTA.
Yeah. She
PTA.
would pop up to the schools.
Yes.
They knew her down at the school board. The superintendent knew her by name. I think you guys, did you go to school together, Mr. What was his name? Mr. What was the school superintendent for a while? He was one of the black Air Forcemen. I can't think of his name right now.
Now my mind is gone.
Yeah, he was one of the Tuskegee Airmen.
But it still kicks in.
Yeah, he was one of the. It still kicks in.
It still kicks in.
As needed.
You know my mind. It's
I
really-
can still woke, but I can't remember his name.
Yes, I can see his face, but he was one of the Tuskegee Airmen.
Wasn't he bald headed? Wore glasses.
Well, I think he finally got there.
So that's when I knew him.
That's when you knew
Okay.
him.
Okay.
Yeah, because he was still there when we moved back to Des Moines with my kids,
With your kid, okay.
and he was still there. I think he was kind of at the end of his, but he was still
Retired.
there. I can't think of his name, but anyway, the school knew you. You know, she was always involved, and even when there was something that wasn't, you know, something derogatory or whatever happened, you know, she never raised her voice. She never embarrassed us. She never came to school with house shoes, a rag tied on her head,
And pink rollers.
and pink rollers. Never.
And
She was
had all
not
of
that
her-
mother.
look, and she had all of her teeth.
She was not that mother. She always, yeah, we were gonna look like women. You couldn't go out of the
No
house
matter
looking any
what.
kind of way. You don't go out of the house looking any kind of way. What do you have on? You check that. Check that. Look in the mirror. Check that.
Oh, God.
But she would come to school and never embarrass us. She wasn't coming up cussing and fussing and talking about what'd you do to my child.
Didn't raise her
And then
voice
we
or
would
nothing.
sit down in conference.
And when that finger came out,
The teacher ended up crying.
Yeah.
and she raised up. Now look, I'm sitting here trying to be calm. Now you're gonna tell me the truth. Oh,
No, she was saying, I'm looking at you.
So it was on and popping there. Get 'em.
Yes.
But did you guys notice that with her presence, that in the classroom, we were treated differently?
Oh,
For
absolutely.
the parents, for the students whose parents never showed up,
Absolutely.
they might get the paper thrown to one side, they may or may not get help. But
Yeah.
I always noticed that I was treated differently because they didn't know when she was coming up there.
They didn't
And she
know.
wasn't gonna be talking about if their clothes were cute. She's like, cut. Are they reading on grade level?
Yeah.
Can they count for their grade
Yeah.
level? That's the part I
Oh,
need to
yeah.
know. So
And
I
you know,
noticed that.
That's funny you say that because I can remember when I always had pretty good grades, huh?
Yeah,
She
the bookworm.
She said
And so
until-
after all that
No,
reading,
she is-
where's Roxie?
I was always
Because
reading.
you went to North.
I didn't watch TV. Yeah, I was just going to say that until I went to North. And
She always
just
had a
did it 'cause
book.
that's
Where's
when I
Roxy?
kinda got into a fight a little bit here and there. But anyway,
Almost.
she was up there so much. And she was always checking behind my grades and this and that.
Yes.
And she found out, because then, I don't know if they go by credits now or not, but then I had more than enough credits to graduate. And she let my counselor know she could graduate 11th grade. And so I did. I graduated in the 11th grade. I was the youngest one in my graduation class. But that's how that was
Yes.
on everything.
yes.
No, you know what? No, you know what that
Everything.
proves?
That I'm
With the
smart.
baby, they get tired.
I'm smart.
Now, when we could come out early, she said, stay in school so you don't get in trouble because you're too young. So stay in school.
But that
But Mom,
was-
we have enough credit. Stay in school and then work.
But that wasn't the real reason.
And that's what they did.
Right.
The real reason that I didn't want them, I told them that, but I didn't want them to graduate because I graduated at 16 years old with a group of older people. After I graduated, I didn't have any contacts. The kids are in school, and what can you talk about? I did tell them.
Yeah.
So I go up and get me a job with the school board, and I
At
worked for
16?
them at 16.
Okay.
And then they sent me to the big
Big house.
The district? No.
where the school principal, the guy that ran it was.
Yeah, the superintendent.
Yeah, and he
Yeah.
found
The
out
school
that I
board.
could type and take shorthand, and then I got to be a secretary to one of the people. But I tell the kids, don't go out early because you can.
So why'd
Because-
you let me? You just trying to get rid of
You
me?
was a
They-
baby.
they
She
was-
was tired.
She had no business down in North at all.
Oh, Lord, she's still,
I got her out
still
there because
salty about that.
was a deathly school.
Yeah, it had
They should have
changed.
closed that school. It was terrible. They was fighting.
Yeah, because I
Kids,
got into
the girl's
a
mother come down and go
fight.
help her daughter fight her. That ain't
But it
working.
didn't work, did it?
I told that principal, you better get and do something right now. Cause I knew the big guy down school board. But she didn't need to be in that environment.
She got me out of there, too.
Okay.
I was hoping she'd go to college, but I guess she had enough school.
She had enough school at that
was
time.
good.
At that time. Yeah, and then I was
Yeah,
school
I
beauty.
was good.
You know, which is a good segue into this. You raised 5 children. You weren't able to put any of us through college, but you taught us and drilled education into us so much that we all went
Yes,
back
you
and
did.
got our college degrees
Everyone.
after we became adults.
Because she set us up.
Because she said, oh, come on.
Bam! And it was like, don't be stupid. Be independent. Like, Lord,
And use your head for
And
more
use
than a
your
hat
head.
rack. She set us
she
up.
meant that.
And every single one of us, our brother, the 3 of us, and the baby girl, all went back after we became adults.
Yeah,
and
after we were
paid
80,
for our
we
own
went back,
schooling. And, so that says so much for who you are and what you did, And I like that, Ree. I think Pastor
I had to
preached
bite
that
that.
message
Okay.
one Sunday.
What's that?
It's a setup.
It's a setup.
She set us up.
She set us up.
She
We
set us
didn't
up
even
for
know it.
greatness,
Yeah.
We didn't even
And we
know
didn't
it.
even know it,
I
know.
wanted you to have a better life than me because I was denied a lot of education because I was really pregnant. I mean, they
Really
were really
It's prejudice.
prejudiced.
Prejudice,
And
yeah.
I wanted to be a
Yeah.
nurse all my life.
Yeah.
And the hospital that taught nursing wouldn't take me. So I tried to do it through the mail, and Mother wouldn't let me go to Chicago, so that ended that.
They ended that.
But I feel good because I do have a granddaughter that's a nurse.
You got
Nurse
she's a
practitioner.
physician.
Practitioner.
And
Is she a
I've always
practitioner?
wanted to be one. I couldn't be, but I'm working through her.
Yeah.
I just feel good.
Yeah.
I feel good. All my kids has got a degree.
Yes.
I got all kind of credits floating everywhere.
You do, but you really do.
But you can't work and go to school and do the things you have to do. So I said, hey, I've had my day, and my mother, she was denied. She was a teacher, and she couldn't teach here, and I saw that. And I said, well, my kids aren't going to go, but
Yeah,
they're
she
going
had
to
a
be what they want to
teaching
be. I don't care if
Yeah,
they are
yes,
poor.
yes,
Work and make your money and
Yeah.
do the best you can.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Because, I'm behind them. I get on them, but I'm
Yeah.
behind them.
You are.
And
Yes.
sometimes I just say, okay, well, whatever. But I'll take
No,
my nap.
what
Mom,
you
and
do
get
that
when I
for?
get
Yeah.
up.
Or your head is
Think
like
about
look,
that.
Mickey, or your head is like a cabbage.
It,
What's that mean?
can't get anything
Yeah.
in.
It's
Can't
tight.
get anything
It's
out.
tight.
I know, I know.
But I remember some of the things, that really stand out to me and encouraged me even when I went back to college almost 10 years after I graduated from high school. One of the things I really remember that helped me continue to go was how you did go to school while you were working. And I thought about that, and I'm like, how did Mom go to school, work, and be at all of our games? And it's like she was at all of our games. She was at every recital. She was at, she
Yeah.
was just there all the time, it seemed like. And I'm thinking,
what was
how?
your GPA?
Yeah,
With doing all that?
4.0,
4.0? Like, oh.
And she says, well, I'm just a few credits away from my teaching degree, but I'm like, honey, you got it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
but
a lot to
I
juggle.
remember she went to DMAC,
Yes.
and I remember you walked. And after, I can't remember what job you were working on then,
Probably
but
good school board.
I remember she went to school and she went to DMAC part-time in the evening. I remember she went to school and went to Drake part-time, and it's like, after we became teenagers, that's the part I remember, that she was always working and going to school. Always working and going to school, and still teaching us, and it wasn't like your report cards being mailed to your house. We can hurry up and take it so Mom can't
Yeah.
see it.
Yeah.
It was like, I know report cards are mailed out. Let's see it. We knew we couldn't even pull that, so but she was always there and
Yes.
working.
Supportive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then there were some trainings at Red Rock. In that
Red Oak.
early, Red Oak.
Red Oak,
In that early
Montessori.
Montessori. Yeah.
Yeah,
I went to Iowa State a little bit.
yeah. Went to Iowa State. Yep, sure did. I remember
But
that.
the most important thing was in my life is that my children get a chance to do what they want that I didn't have,
Mm-hmm.
and things got better. And I'm really proud of them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everybody makes a little mistakes, but hey, they
We
don't
proud
on
of
the
your
phone all the
children.
time except for one. Mom, help me! I need. They worked it out.
She
The baby.
ain't here. She ain't.
But
She
but
was
she,
like, "Mom, Mom."
but I'm really proud of them.
Yeah.
And then you don't hear their name on the street. Well, them Dawson girls is wild as bad. No, you can't go over there. And if you wear that blouse, and I told you not to, and they tell me
Oh
you're
my
in trouble.
goodness.
And you had to take your hat off when you come over.
The boys didn't like it. Don't set in
Do
the
not
street
pull up and honk.
blow for my
Get in
daughter.
here. Look, see,
And when you
look.
come to the door, I said, who are you? And who's your daddy? Who's
See?
your mom?
See?
And what do? Do you go to school or what? But don't you come back here and don't come to the door and get my daughter. And the same way you drop her off, you take her to the door and drop her off. And if I say 10 o'clock, it better not be 5 after, 10 after.
No.
You'll never come here again.
Well, no, when the pit bull was home,
I didn't have any trouble.
you didn't have any trouble. Because most
was
time
bringing people
we
in.
left one way and came back single.
Yes.
Roxie knows walking the street, he behind her blowing the horn.
Oh,
That was so unfair.
It was so
I was so much younger than everybody else. And these two are so close in age. They were like this.
17
I
months
had
apart.
nobody. Stephanie, 10 years under me. Just me.
Mm-hmm.
Boy. And I would
Your
ask,
brothers.
Mom, can I do this? Can I? Yeah, you can. You can.
Mm-hmm.
Back then, I think she was tired.
I told you, that's why you got out of school
Yeah,
early.
you can. So I said, hey, she said, yeah. But I'd run into the pit bull. What you doing here? Well, Mom said I could go.
Now you
No.
can't. This is a G-rated program, so you can't say what he said.
I would never.
Oh, okay.
'Cause I don't even remember.
I know
Just
you were in
embarrassed.
tears.
I was just crying.
Yeah,
He made me walk home and he was following me in his
in the car.
I was like, oh, wow. But Mom said he didn't want to
He
hear.
didn't wanna
Be
hear.
quiet. Get your little fast butt home. Everything was fast.
Yeah,
Yes.
right. Yeah, everything's
Just
fine.
like,
So he can do his damage.
because see,
Yeah,
Mickey
yeah.
and Berta was so tired. I couldn't keep up with them too. And I tried.
She tried.
I just
you
couldn't.
tried.
I just couldn't. So when they was gone, and I was, at that time, they were so petite. I was the thicker one. But I was small, but I was
Yeah, you
bigger.
were small.
So when they would leave,
We were probably in a 1 and you were what, in a 3?
probably
So,
something
you
like
know,
that. But
yeah.
Berta was so fashion diva, makeup, just
Yeah.
so when y'all would be gone, I
Oh.
would try her clothes on.
So, see, we can't even do anything about it now.
And I was like, okay, maybe if I start looking like them, they take me somewhere. Maybe I'm ugly. Maybe I'm too fat. Maybe I'm too, So I would always get in her stuff. And Mickey had tons of fingernail polish. I wasn't really into the polish like that.
Yeah.
But Berta had like the best looking clothes in the world.
And jewelry, earrings.
Man, and I had to put Vaseline on, but I was slide. I was like, oh, how am I gonna take it off now before I get caught? But I stayed in her clothes. I couldn't fit her because she was so petite.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I wanted to be so much. I guess like them.
Yeah.
Well, that was good.
Yeah, because they were they took care of me.
And they
Yeah.
would chase her on when she's doing something
But
wrong.
well,
she was
not as
mama.
much.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
they'd get you if you
But
thought-
Berta really spoiled me.
Yeah.
But they took care of me. Though.
Yeah.
Mickey, maybe because she was a middle child.
The
I
fight.
think
And
she
I was
a
the
tomboy.
tomboy. Yeah. Yeah.
So I guess when her and Robbie fought, and I guess he disappeared for a minute, she thought she was supposed to.
That's
pick on
right.
me.
That's right.
And then I just bite her.
I still have that mark today. I still have that mark today. It looks like a birthmark.
She would hold on
It ain't
to
no
me.
birthmark. It was her.
I would just bite her.
Right there. See that?
Oh,
Uh-huh.
and broke her skin.
Yeah. She wouldn't let go. Oh.
And Berta would know what's going on. She didn't. She's like,
Oh, this
really.
Miss No Nonsense.
She's
do
like, y'all at it again.
Miss Nonsense. No,
She just
this is her
like-
move. Stop.
Yeah. And then she disappeared. She'd be asleep. She'd be so asleep. Berta was just like,
I can't do a lot of crazy.
Still
But,
don't.
but they took care of me though.
Mm-hmm.
They brought me brand new women. I mean, these two should have been twins, really. They took care of me. And I said, when I get older, I'm going to take care of them. But you remember that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you do.
But they made sure I had everything I needed.
I think, remember our jobs?
Yes.
And we lived on the bus line on Clark Street, the bus stop, the city bus stop right in front of us.
From the front door.
And we would get paid and go downtown.
Yes.
And we would buy Roxie and Stephanie clothes. Oh, Stephanie had
And
everything.
toys.
She could have changed 3 or 4 times a day.
And
you
not
know,
wore the same thing.
and not wore the same thing. But we would buy her clothes because we kind of made a pact that once we got jobs, we was gonna help mom.
Yeah.
And they did.
And we
And that's what
did.
they
And we
did.
bought their school. We bought your school
I remember
clothes, and we bought
everything.
Stephanie's clothes. You know, we
remember. We
we
didn't
thought
have to
Stephanie
work
was a
for
dollar or
nothing.
something.
Yes.
You
yeah.
know.
We just
Yeah.
passed her up.
Yeah, we just dressed her, bought her toys. You know, just you know, but that's what was put into us, you know,
Yes.
and it wasn't a strain.
Mm-mm.
We didn't feel like mom made us do it. We were happy to do it. I remember I was the first time I was just able to really buy all by myself, buy you a Christmas gift, and I was so proud. It was, I don't know if you remember, but it was this blue coat and it had fur, and I got it at JCPenney downtown. And at that time, you could put things on layaway, and I put it on layaway, and I was so proud. I'm like, my mom's gonna be happy, and I wanted them to box it because you know I saw
It
the
was a gift.
rich
Yeah.
ladies
Yeah.
get
Yeah,
their
that's
stuff
how-
boxed, and I'm like, box this coat, you know, this is for my mom, and that was the first big item I was ever able to buy, and I was just so happy to do it. You know, it wasn't like, "Oh, I better give my mom something.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but I think you taught us to give
Yeah.
because you would take us Christmas shopping. You remember them Christmas shopping trips?
Yeah.
And then she did it with the grandkids when we started having.
Oh,
But we
yeah.
would have to shop for each other.
Yeah.
You know,
That was fun.
it was
That a lot of
fun. And we would accept. Somebody always knew.
Yes.
What
find
everybody
every gift
got.
in the house. We're hiding gifts.
And I got a secret, but I can't tell. I'm not gonna tell you, Mom bought you a Chatty Cathy this year, though.
Yeah. So
Huh?
it's out now.
Don't tell I told you.
I think she stayed up in the night when everybody was asleep.
Yes. And would search.
Would find every gift and didn't tell it.
She told everything. She found out it. Roxie, how'd you know? Cause you know, all you have to do is pull the corner back.
And then I would seal it back. Every now and then I take a pencil when I had a problem, you know, I was thinking, okay, if I tear this end off, they're gonna know. Because sometimes it was taped too. So I take a pencil.
I wish I knew that.
Oh.
She would tell it. She would tell everything.
And would tell
I
you.
think, how does she know that?
Riley got a
We go
racetrack.
at night.
And they had the best gifts. I was like, okay, I gotta see what I got now. Make sure mine is better. And I used to count them.
Oh,
Yes. Yeah, she would.
oh my goodness.
Mickey got 10 gifts. Brody got 10. I got 8. Now, wait a minute. That ain't right. That ain't right.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
But on Clark sheet, you'd have to get Fluffy off one of the packages because remember he would go and lay under the tree.
Yeah,
and lay
because
on-
we always had that. We had the real tree before
real-
we got
oh,
to Charlie
and
Brown.
I
tree,
hated
right?
us.
Night before
I hated the
Christmas
real
would go.
trees.
Yes.
I could
Oh,
stand
I
the smell of
love them.
evergreen.
Oh, the evergreen.
And then
I
we
still
had the
don't like
aluminum
it.
foil tree, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That came a whole lot longer
Yeah.
after the real
Yes.
tree.
Was that the trees that were out at the time? I hated that tree.
And you put the color wheel behind it and changes
So we
colors.
changed colors.
I thought
Oh,
that
my
was
goodness.
the ugliest.
It was just, yeah, it wasn't the greatest. But I didn't like evergreen. I still don't.
Oh, I think
And I
it
might be
smells so
allergic to,
good.
I don't know, they make you
just don't
sneeze.
like it.
I
I
love that
just don't
smell.
like the smell.
I do
I
too.
like it.
And our cat Fluffy, remember,
He went crazy.
he
Oh
would
my
knock
God.
that tree down at least one time at the minimum, but
Yes.
2 or 3
Yeah,
times
possibly.
while it was
The smell.
because of
And
that
they would drink. He
evergreen.
would drink that water.
Drink the
all
water
the
and
time.
break the bulbs because we had
Yes.
glass bulbs.
Yeah.
And he would jump up and attack the
So
tree.
we
the
had
bulbs.
everything. We had animals. Remember the frog?
The frog.
Remember Freddie the frog?
Freddie the frog.
Freddy the frog.
That they made the
old
mud
time.
hole for her in the basement so he could live all winter.
And then the turtle.
Timmy the turtle.
turtle.
We had Timmy the turtle.
Timmy the
Freddie the
frog.
frog.
And what was the tortoise's name that we found up in Perry?
Perry. I don't know.
That big thing.
He
and
was
then
huge.
the bunny
Oh, yeah.
Snowball?
was big, and
Yeah.
they
And
are,
Stephanie
they
had
are really
was
dumb.
2
Hate them.
gerbils.
They are
What was
really
the
dumb.
gerbils' names? She had the gerbils' name after that movie. What were the gerbils' names? Stephanie had those
Gizmo
2.
and-
Gizmo and there was another one. She had 2. You remember that? And she wouldn't change the cage, and you was always fussing. Stephanie, I'm gonna make you get rid of these. You won't change
I
the
know she had
cage.
that little.
No, they were
lizard.
guinea pigs.
They were little, yeah.
They were,
They were
I
guinea
said they were
pigs.
big.
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
guinea
And she had that
pigs.
little lizard that she took.
Oh.
And I told her, don't take him out. Every time she took him out, he would die, and I'd get her to do something and get, oh. I told her they can't stand that. It was a little, it wasn't,
we
it wasn't a
had
real, it was a
everything.
little lizard.
Ooh,
It was a
I don't
big
remember.
in
That might have
cage.
been when we were gone.
Yeah.
Remember how
I don't remember the lizard. I remember Snowball because
He's-
Snowball was like
he
this
got
big, and he
was
had a
big.
collar, and they put a leash on him and let him run on the clothesline in the backyard. He was huge.
Ate the
Yeah.
curtain drapes?
He
I
ate
don't
the
remember
drapes.
that.
He got,
Snowball did.
He ate what?
somebody
the
got him
drapes.
loose. He got in the house and he chewed up my
It had to be her because I think we
It
were
was
gone by
Stephanie,
the.
yeah.
We had moved out by the time
But
she
he
had
smells
Snowball.
awful. He stinks.
Yes,
He
yes.
stinks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
Berta
they
was
did.
home with him. You said you're gonna get rid of him. When she get rid of him, because she was the last one home.
No, but
Who
wait a
was?
minute. Didn't he
didn't
die
die.
from eat? Then who am I thinking of? Because the big one that we used to put
He
on the
died
leash
from
was
eating
on
the
7
plaster
the
around
paint
the
off of his
window.
house.
Yeah, yeah.
He had lead
was dumb.
poisoning.
He had lead
Oh my goodness!
They're really
The
dumb.
Snowball
We were the
had lead
animal house.
poisoning.
Yes.
Oh yeah, we did. Remember the guppies?
Yeah.
The ones. What were and the sea nymphs that we would order online?
Oh, yeah.
You'd have to put together the fish
Is that
tank.
the cereal box thing you ordered?
I don't remember,
Yeah,
but I remember you have to order them. I know,
They
right?
supposed to
It
go-
was
And was
scam.
that the one that
It
Robbie,
was a scam,
Robbie
yeah.
put his hand in and grabbed the
And
guppy?
Benny.
No.
That was on the east side. He bit my
That's on the east
Yeah.
side. Yeah.
Oh my
Not-
goodness!
not on
my
West
guppies
17.
in half.
Bit him. Yuck!
He was bad.
He was bad.
Yeah, he bit him in half.
Robbie do it anyway.
Yeah, Robbie do it.
But he was. I want to go on record to say that he was not in school. He was very.
He
a
was
toddler.
very young.
He was
yeah.
a toddler.
Yeah, he
a
was
curious
a
toddler, but you know.
Yeah.
The guppy
Like when
in
I
half.
dug up
Run
Timothy
away.
the turtle's grave.
Oh yeah.
I just wanted to see.
He
'cause
come
I-
out, didn't he?
No, he was dead, but I was just
Did I
like,
thought he lived all winter.
no, he
No.
died, and we buried him in the backyard.
Oh, okay. After he
And
got
I just
out.
wanted to dig him up because I had this thing. They say when you die, you turn into a skeleton or something. I just wanted to see if it was.
Until you got in
That
there.
thing's still a turtle.
Well, the
They
shell
got
wasn't
a
gonna turn to
It
dust.
was still a turtle.
It was just, I thought I was gonna see turtle skeleton. No.
Nah, it was a turtle.
And Burton talked about me so bad. And this girl, what's wrong with you? I just wanted to see Burton and Shy said, oh,
Yeah,
oh, like, what's wrong with you?
that's her.
And turn
That's
her face
her.
up. Berta can make more faces.
Oh my God.
You do something, I know somebody did something, because she'd go,
Yeah.
I said, what, Berta?
But she'll tell you.
I said, well, whoever it was, I bet they got in big
She'll tell
trouble.
you.
Yeah.
Especially Robbie, after she got strong, she'd get on him.
Yeah, she
When I was
still
in the
does.
hospital
She
all that
still
time for a
does.
month.
Yeah, she still does. That's funny.
Now let me tell you something.
What's that?
When she starts that, that's what she
That's
tell
what
Robbie.
Oh, yeah. The
Now,
stutter
let me
comes
tell
up,
you something.
ooh,
Well,
Oh,
that's
she
just to
really
let
did
you
it.
know that families can be happy and they can survive.
and they
Oh,
can
we
they
have
can
good
be somebody.
memories. Yes,
Good
yes,
Good
yes.
taste
memories.
good with the bad.
Now, do you think there is? This is the last question, but do you think there's really some validity to the birth order thing?
Mm-hmm. I do.
Do you?
I
But you're
really
asking
don't
Mom,
think
right?
so.
Well, and we can all.
I really don't think so because when I was like 19, I think, when I had Rob. Because I got out of school early and I got married early because I wanted to get away from home. But
Okay.
that first baby is a learning tool.
Sure.
And I think as a young mother, you know, you don't really know what to do, so you kind of,
Run over to Miss Branscombe.
well, you kind of spoil it.
Yeah.
And then the other one, it gets better as you go along because that first one is a training tool for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. You don't
And
know.
you said, okay, if I have another, it's not gonna do that. So I think they're a learning tool.
Yeah.
But I
If
mean
if you're mature, if you're not mature, it's all down the whole end.
See the whole thing.
You got 5
But I
minutes.
mean, as far as personality wise, you
It
know,
could
with
be.
the birth order.
That first one probably gets more love and more attention than the others, cause it's the first baby, you know. And then the second one, I mean, you give it love, but not like the first one. That's
that
new
first
to you.
one is.
Yeah, that's like a pair of new shoes. You want to wear them and not skirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. What was you gonna say, Roxie? About the birth
I
order.
think the birth order makes a difference.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because I think automatically usually know who's the oldest, who's in the middle, who's the last, just by personalities.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it could come from too, if you're raised close.
Yeah.
Because I always had a certain type of respect for my older siblings. You know, I just kind of believed in that. You know, the oldest. You know, especially when you have a certain relationship with each one of them. But I knew how far to go with y'all, and it wasn't a fear thing; it was more of a respect thing. You know. So I think it does to that respect. I think so. Yeah.
Berta
There seems to
really
be some
goes-
similarities in traits.
Well, one thing I can say, I think we're all, Roxie says it all the time, and I couldn't see it really until this past week. She always says, we're the same people. I'm like, no, we're not. Because she got a strong personality. She got a strong personality. Stephanie got a strong personality. We're not, we're not the same. I was the tomboy of the group. Roxie was the crybaby of the group. Berta's the stonewall. You see that look right now? Yeah, no, don't play with me. And I thought, no, we're not the same. And I always found myself, and I don't know if it was because people always said it. I was in the middle, and of the two of you, we're 17 months apart. You and I are 3 years apart. But people would always, the adults would always say, oh, Roberta's so petite. She's just beautiful. She had a whole lot of hair, and she's going to be a model. Roxie's so cute because she had these big dimples, big curly hair, and then there's Maud. And it was like, okay, no one ever had any, it was just like, oh, there's Mickey, and then the older I got, the more but I never felt any type of way about it. I didn't feel like, oh, I'm alone, who am I, I'm an ugly duckling, nothing like that, but it was just like, okay, I knew I was a tomboy, and I knew I was different than the two of you, but it was okay. But then the older I got, people would always say, oh man, you're just like your mother. You're just like your mother. You're just like your mother. And I could see it, especially the older I get. I'm like, oh, I look just like that's something mom does. Ooh, I have her mannerisms. Ooh, And now that I'm really getting older, every time I look in the mirror, I'm like, ooh, hi mom. But I think, it's a lot to be said about the birth. I think I was strong because it was like I always had the major things happen in life. The three of us had chicken pox. I got it the worst. Mine got infected. I had them on the palms of my hand, the bottom of my feet. They were healed in 2 or 3 days. I was at home in the bed for 2 weeks. It was always something. We got our tonsils taken out together. She could go home. I couldn't. And I started crying. I was like, no, Mom, don't make me. You remember that at Lutheran Hospital.
Yes.
And because I wouldn't eat or something or stop bleeding, it was something. Yeah, it was just something crazy. And anything crazy seemed like it happened to me. And so I always felt like, well, I'm the different one, but, oh well, that's life. But, as far as feeling like the birth order, I think, and it may be because you kept us so close to you that, our personalities are so similar. It's just like crazy.
Even Robbie.
Yeah.
And he's a male.
He's the male. But I think all of our personalities are so similar, And even though, like I said, we passed Steph between the three of us, and I think by the time I left home, she was 5. So when you left home, she must have been 7, 8. Something like that. So she was really young, and like I said, she was like the baby that we all took care of. It just feels like she's more of our baby than our sister, because we just raised her.
And the same way to
and I think we get on her nerves because we're always bossing her around, telling her what to do and all that kind of stuff. But it's just love. That's how we were raised to take care of each other. So.
It's just love.
Yeah, you did a wonderful job, and this has been fun today.
Yes.
And you know what's really great about it? we're alive.
Mm.
We didn't have to wait till something happened and say, you know, we remember mom and mom was like this,
Yeah.
but
Yes.
we get to share in this moment with you.
Yes.
And you're blessed. You're a cancer survivor.
Yes.
And man, you know, how long has it been? 2009?
Yes.
You know, and still here, not taking chemo, you know, praise the
You
Lord.
got all your scruples.
You know, you got all your scruples, you're still teaching lessons.
Yes. Still teaching lessons.
And,
So
you know, you've seen your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren.
That's a blessing.
Yeah, and your grandchildren, grandchildren and great-grandchildren. We don't have any great-greats yet. So, you know, that's a blessing. So we're at the end. This has been a fun time.
I do have some great greats.
You have great-greats. No?
Stephanie's kids.
No.
Richie's kids would be my
No.
great.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Because he's a grand.
He's a grand.
So he has a great-grand.
My and Cheryl.
That's right.
Well, no, he's great. That's not great-great. He's just
his
a great.
kids are.
No, he's just a good.
Okay.
No, Richard's just a grand.
And his kids would be great grands.
Great, yeah, but that's why I said we don't have great-greats yet. So, anyway, but it's a blessing, and we thank you for spending this time together, and, you know, God is good to us. We thank you even for instilling the love of God in us, you know, and that was one thing. We laughed and talked because I said, let's keep it light, guys, but the spiritual side, you know, she was a good representation of the church when we were coming up. You know, she wasn't one of those people that I'm saved in church and she got home and acted cut up. You didn't know who she was, you know. She taught us, you know, how to be for real, how to be saved, how to really pray fast, all those shut-ins and those benches that pinch you and those cold church nights and everything.
And it kept me out of jail.
It kept us out of jail, kept us out of trouble, you know, and kept us loving God. So, you know, we enjoy this time. And to our brother and our baby sisters that not here today with us, we love you too.
We love you.
And we miss you not being here with us, but we pray one for another, and family is what keeps us together, you know.
Yes.
So with that, we'll see you with the next Chatting with the Clays. God bless each and every one of you.
Bye.
Bye, bye, bye.
My brothers and sisters, I pray that this was a blessing unto you. First Lady Clay, would you like to say anything?
Don't forget to give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell. Leave a comment. God bless.